Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the series A Journey Towards Emotional Self-Regulation. I am Smriti Gopal. I'm an educator, a conscious parenting coach, a conscious living coach, and a present moment awareness coach. So, in this episode, I would like to talk about the emotion anger. And Dr. Brené Brown, in her book, The Atlas of the Heart, says, this is the place where we go to when we feel wronged. So first of all, let's look into this a little deeper and find out when anger arises. There are three common reasons why we feel angry. The first reason is when something gets in the way of our desired outcome. The second reason is some form of violation in the way things should be. And the third reason is crossing or disrespecting boundaries. Here are two facts about anger. The first one is that it is an action emotion. Because most likely when we are angry, we are blaming someone. And if we have not worked on our self-regulation, we are engaging in reactive behavior like yelling or, in the case of children, hitting, and that could be even in the case of adults, or harming ourselves like hitting our own heads. And any of these things are reactive behaviors. So the blame is manifested as a form of a reactive behavior or an aggressive behavior. The next fact about anger is that it is a full contact emotion, which means that your nervous system is completely activated. Your body is completely activated, the amygdala is on high alert, and your thoughts and your behavior is hijacked. That's why many times we regret the way we behave when we are very angry at a time when we are less or no more angry. This is the reason, because in that moment, our thoughts and our behavior is completely hijacked by this overactivated nervous system. Dr. Brené Brown says that it is still not very clear if anger is a primary emotion or a secondary emotion, but all the research that she has gathered has shown that anger is most likely a secondary emotion, which means it is masking another emotion. It could be masking grief, betrayal, vulnerability, fear, insecurity. All these are the different and many more feelings, or shame for that matter, are all feelings that are underneath this anger. And why is anger masking these feelings? It's because these feelings are harder to tell and harder to communicate. So anger just camouflages or covers up these emotions, and what is seen to us is this person who is extremely angry. That is why anger is also called as an indicator emotion. What that means is that it is indicating that there is something underneath this anger that needs to be seen and investigated. That is what this anger is indicating. Research has also shown that anger could also be hereditary. But this information is only useful for us to just know that it could be hereditary. It's definitely not information that we want to use to shift the responsibility of the anger, because in order to manage or cope with anger, the first thing we need to do is acknowledge and own it. Sometimes when we can't own our own pain that is arising by seeing someone else struggle, we use anger to mask that pain. So there is most likely something hidden underneath the anger that really needs to be seen. So when we are talking about managing anger, the very first step is what's behind it. So in this picture, you will see the very different emotions that could be hiding underneath anger. Just knowing this is extremely helpful, because when you know this, the moment you get angry, your vision shifts inward rather than the blame that is outward. So that reactive behavior that we're talking about could very much be managed when our focus starts going inward to see what is this underneath that I'm feeling that's making me manifest it as anger. If you are brought up in a home where everything around was so volatile and there was angry people, adults around us when we were growing up, it's very likely that the possibility is that one thing you learn being angry that way, but the other thing that could be possible is you become so repressed that you are not able to be angry with another. You deny yourself the feeling that it's okay to be angry since you saw that it was so disruptive in your childhood. What we want to reframe here is that maybe the adults around us were not aware of the healthy ways of managing the anger that was arising in them. The lesson from that is not to not be angry, but it is to learn ways that I can cope or manage when the anger arises, because anger is an emotion that could arise and can arise at any moment, and it's really okay. So I think if you have been in an environment like this and you see yourself not getting angry, it is not the feeling of anger that is to be suppressed, but what is to be looked into is the ways that you can manage this anger and express what needs to be taken care of underneath that anger. So while we say it's okay to be angry, it's also very important for us to recognize that if you are in a critical state of anger for long periods of time, it is very hard to sustain, one thing, and the next thing is it's very detrimental. Each of us manifest anger in different ways. So what is your go-to mechanism when you get angry? Or what is your go-to mechanism to suppress anger, because you've seen anger all around you as a child and you have learned that anger is an emotion that you should not have. So the reframing is very essential. Here's a quote by Dr. Brené Brown in her book, The Atlas of the Heart. So it says here, anger is a catalyst. Holding on to it will make us exhausted and sick. Internalizing anger will take away our joy and spirit. Externalizing anger will make us less effective in our attempts to create change and forge connection. It's an emotion that we need to transform into something life-giving: courage, love, change, compassion, and justice. So it's not the anger that is healthy or unhealthy. It's the way we respond to this anger that becomes healthy or unhealthy. Anger can be the source of a lot of work that needs to be done and words that need to be said for some changes to be made. But when they come from a place of an activated nervous system, they do not serve the purpose. Let's talk about some steps on how to manage anger. The first step is to acknowledge that I am angry, and it's okay to be angry. Owning our anger is extremely important. When we are very angry and when somebody tells us, why are you so angry? We say, no, I'm not angry. So there's most of the times we are denying that we are in anger, because I think again somewhere we feel that this is an emotion that we are not supposed to have. So we are kind of in resistance to anger, which makes anger worse. Just like every other emotion, there is a whole lot of body sensations and feelings that arise when anger arises. If you can tap into your body and figure out these sensations, it will be very helpful for you to manage that urge or that impulse to become reactive and get into that reactive behavior of yelling or whatever it is you do. If you can identify it at the impulse level, you can start taking care of yourself right then so that it doesn't manifest into a reactive behavior. The next step is feeling how it feels in your body. This is different for different people, but I can tell you what happens in my body. I feel a rapid heartbeat, I feel the temperature of the body going high, and I feel the nervous system completely agitated because the cells are vibrating. If you can just sit and close your eyes, you feel that you can't be still because there is so much of activity in the cells because the amygdala has sent them an emergency message. You could also feel hot in your face or in your head, and some people even turn completely red when they are angry. The speech is very blurry and sometimes very fast, and we don't even know what we are saying sometimes when we are so angry. At this moment is where we can step in and know that anger is here and all portals need to be closed. We are not going to open our mouth because otherwise things are going to come out of here that we will regret later on. The first step is that. And if it's possible, you can also close your eyes and just anchor onto the breath and allow that anger to pass. It's important to know that these feelings that are arising in your body are not going to kill you. And knowing this is very helpful. It helps you be with those feelings. And the next thing is whatever action you're going to take at this moment is going to be detrimental to another person or to you. So it's better to wait till the anger has calm down, and then automatically the prefrontal cortex starts kicking in with its wisdom, and we will know what to do and what to say. The fear, I think, for myself was that if I don't say something when I'm angry, then I may forget it, and the intensity of this person that has harmed me will reduce and they will never get it that they harmed me, and that's why I'm angry. This may be the thought process going on in your head as well, but the changing of narrative for me that helped me is that in this state when I talk, I'm not being effective in conveying this message to the other person. So for that reason, I need to wait. And the second thing is, if it has really hurt me, I'm not going to forget it. I'm going to say it in the best way possible once this turbulence of an emotion has settled down. So the key is to catch the anger in the sensation, the urge, or the impulse stage. Like in Buddhism, they call it the Shenpa. Catching it during the Shenpa stage is where we can make a difference. But if you can't, again, there's no need to beat yourself up. Wherever it is that you can catch it is extremely helpful. The moment you are aware and acknowledge it, it's time to stop. It's time to close the portal of the mouth and the eyes and then go inward. Your hand may rise and you can still realize and bring it down. Your head may go forward, but you can realize and bring it down. Whatever it is that you're doing, wherever it is that you can catch it, it is extremely helpful. And these are the steps we take. You're not going to be able to catch it at the sensation or the Shenpa right from day one. For probably you don't even know yet what are those sensations and urges. So first step is to get tuned into your body and find out what are these urges and sensations that are arising for me. And maybe there's a track back whenever you catch yourself, track back and see what happened right then. Then you know that these are the things that happen, and this indicates anger is setting in. The many ways that we can help this anger as it passes out of our body is taking deep inhales and exhales, and the exhales longer than the inhales, and also drinking cold water or washing your face with cold water or even your hands with cold water. If you can, taking yourself away from that situation into another room or into another space which is a lot more calmer and quieter. Movement can be an extremely useful thing, like, just doing some push-ups or walking out in nature is the best thing. You're getting fresh air and you can walk and you can, even vent it out if that's what you want to do in terms of just saying things, or journaling. If your anger is not very, very intense, you can journal. And with children, we used to always do this. When they're very angry, we give them a blank sheet of paper and a crayon and say, and just scribble and show me how angry you are. That's it. And that itself dissipates the charge that the anger has, while it keeps alive the violation that has happened, and that can be communicated later on. The communication of the violation that's happened, the boundary that has been disrespected, or looking into the outcome that was desired that didn't happen, and getting some insight into is anger the best way to deal with this, or if you feel there's some injustice, then what should be said about this injustice? Are the things that we need to take care once our anger has dissolved. If you are dealing with your own anger or somebody else's anger, there is one very important thing that I feel I learned recently, is that the antidote for anger is kindness and compassion. If we retaliate anger with anger, we are not helping them, nor are we helping ourselves. So even for ourselves, when we are angry, we need the kindness and the compassion. So while it's okay to feel angry, there are some things that are not okay when you feel angry. The first one is continuing to be angry over long periods of time. Now, if you start getting into the thought process and blaming and pitying ourselves, then this anger is going to continue. It is not having any outlet. So that's why that inward journey as to the sensations is very important. The other thing which is not okay when we feel angry is projecting our anger onto somebody else or another situation. So this again needs a lot of awareness to see that we are projecting it, because sometimes we don't even know and it's happening. And be aware of your reactive behavior. What is my reactive behavior? How can I take care of it when I'm angry? And then how can I express what made me angry? This is the tough part, the expression part. If it's not something that you've done over the years, it is something you're learning. It will take time. So be compassionate with yourself. So here's a quote that I got from Thich Nhat Hanh. He speaks beautifully of these emotions, especially anger as well. So this is what he says: I would not look upon anger as something foreign to me, that I have to fight. I have to deal with my anger with care, with love, with tenderness, with non-violence. I love this quote because anger can manifest in violent ways, especially when we are physical. That's where we need to remember that there are many non-violent ways of expressing our anger. Thich Nhat Hanh has this beautiful mindful meditation for anger, and he says in that, anger, I see you. I am here for you. I will take good care of you. So as you're breathing, when you see these impulses and the sensations in the body, you're saying this, anger, I see you, I'm here for you, and I'm going to take good care of you. Just this one concept can help you sit with your anger, and the situation is a lot more respectful and could be resolved in very loving and kind ways. Feelings come, feelings go, like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is always here for us to anchor. So anchor on to your conscious breathing when you're not angry, so that you can anchor on to this conscious breathing when you are angry. Not only when you are angry, when somebody else in your family is angry also. It helps when we anchor onto our breath and we breathe for them, since right now their nervous system is not allowing them to breathe. Thank you for listening, and if you liked what you just heard, please press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, press the subscribe button to be informed about the episodes that will come up. And until we meet again, stay alive to emotional discoveries. Thank you and bye-bye.